2 weeks ago, Booking Holdings became the third largest position in my portfolio. But yesterday, the stock crashed by 10%. So what happened? The first thing I did, as any good investor should do, is to go on the investor relations page of the company to know why the stock price was crashing. And there was only one big news announced yesterday, was that the CEO of Kayak was retiring. He was moving as the executive chair of the company. Kayak is only a subsidiary of Booking Holdings. Booking Holdings own Booking.com, Priceline, Agoda, so many different companies, and Kayak is a small part of that. It's not as if the CEO of Booking Holdings itself, Dan Fogel, was retiring, which would have been worse if this is how the stock market is going to react. I wasn't really satisfied with this answer. That's not the reason why the stock is crashing. But there are many news sources that listed that as the main reason for the crash. So let's try to go deeper what really happened. Are there other news? Yes, UBS downgraded the company. Downgraded the price. It's still a buy, but they expected it initially to go to 6,800 by a year. Now it's only 600. Now it's only 6,600. I don't care about what market analysts are going to put the price on the companies I own. So this is not interesting news. But still, 10%, that's a lot. And then we look at the competitors. Expedia down 15%. TripAdvisor, I think, down 5%. Airbnb also down considerably. So it's not something unique to Booking.com. And when I try to look at the news of the other companies, they say that it's contagion because of Booking Holding. And the reason why Booking Holding is down is because Kayak CEO, which many of the news sources just listed CEO leaving. Okay, but then I made some more research. What happened with that? And I got the result that because tourism to the US was down 6%. But this news was a few weeks ago. So why is the market reacting on it now? I made further research. It's about Google AI search that integrated traveling something. But that was a month ago. Yes, some news sources quoted that again, that particular week. And even yesterday, someone wrote about that I use AI, I use ChatGPT, Gemini, and Grok to look for these answers, what was happening to the stock price. And this was everything they were giving me. But it did not answer the question why 10%, which is a lot, $15 billion US dollars for the largest online travel agency in the world. And finally, when the market closes, I woke up the next day. The main news why everything crashed, it's not only this sector, it's everything software. I don't know why Booking Holdings qualified as software. It's because of the new AI agent by Anthropic. Maybe that's the reason. But it still doesn't make any sense because Adobe did not crash that much. So what is the real reason why Booking Holdings dropped by 10%? I don't know. I don't think anyone knows. They are just putting answers there because this is what we are wired to do as human beings. We are wired looking for causality. We need to see something is happening. There need to be a cause to that thing happening. We are always looking for these causal relationship, cause-effect relationship, even when they don't exist. Because this is how our brains are wired. You see your dead friend there with wounds. He was eaten by a lion. You know there's a lion around here, you need to go and hide. But this is not applicable all the time, even though this is how our brains are wired. And it's not the only times, it happens every day, and it's always when the thing already happens that we need to find a reason why it happened, which doesn't serve any purpose. I recently posted a document for free, 100-page document about the whole GameStop short squeeze, which you might remember happened 5 years ago. If you were following me, we made a lot of money. Congratulations. So I wanted to look at my research and analysis from 5 years ago, from even 7 years ago, to know why this was such a good investment. So I annotated everything. If you're interested, you can have it. It's completely for free. If I'll put the link somewhere. But coming back to how this is relevant to Booking Holdings, after the short squeeze happened, we were all giving reasons why it happened. But when I went to see my research, I did not know when the short squeeze was going to happen and how it was going to happen. I said there was a big probability that it was going to happen. And then it happened. That was the opposite of what the market, of what the news did. They went in the past to find an answer of what something happened. But this is not the way you should approach investing. You need to think about the future because you cannot go back into the past and change things. And looking at Booking Holdings today, why I believe this is a good investment is because more people are going to travel in the future. 20 years, 40 years from now, more people are going to travel, and there is a high probability that they are not going to sleep on the streets. They are still going to book hotels, and it's easy to do on Booking.com, on Priceline, on Agoda. Yes, there's going to be challenges with AI, but AI will also be integrated into these systems. There are other challenges with regulation. There are going to be recessions. There's going to be a volcanic eruption at some point, which will lower travel all around the world. But we will recover and people will still be traveling on average. 40 years from now, more people will be traveling than today, and they will be spending more money on hotels than today. This is my thesis. Everything else is just noise. And Booking Holdings is a good company, great management, buying back shares. They can grow with little capital. So I believe that holding the company today and owning the company means that I can profit from that expansion in the market. If you want to learn more why I believe Booking Holdings is such a great company, I would recommend you watch this video next. On the float of Booking Holdings, it's a little like Berkshire. Have a nice day and goodbye.